Update 25.6 is live on PC and the loadout screen has been updated to UI 3.0. The screen follows the same design as the inventory page and previous redesigns of screens, displaying your loadouts within a grid and all the information on the right hand side. On this screen you can purchase more loadout slots via its direct button, and you can make new loadouts by selecting an open slot or just by duplicating one of your existing loadouts. Selecting one of your pre-existing loadouts will display all of its information on the right-hand side tab, as I mentioned beforehand, and you can choose between the following options: duplicating the selected loadout to another slot, copying one of your other loadouts to replace the one that's currently selected, the option to randomize your loadout with new items, and of course the option to delete. You can also change the icon of your loadout, and you can change it to any of your owned glyphs. There's also the ability that players can mark specific loadouts as favorites by selecting the star icon next to the name of the loadout. Also in the UI field, and separate to the loadout screen update, more Warframe augment ability stats have been added to the ability screen. Now as for changes, the augment changes that were shown in a developer workshop have now gone live, and it is important to relay the following that DE said in the post. Please be aware this isn't reflective of the entire thought process behind augments overall. While many responses to this have been to simply add an augment slot, that is a way bigger conversation and choice between the micro changes here. So the changes that came to the augments follow. Hysterical Assault's invulnerability will linger for half a second when aiming to prevent players getting downed immediately in high damage areas, and the ability range has been increased. Rising Storm will now raise the combo counter with each clone attack, and it now has a passive that extends the combo counter duration. Titanic Rumblers now have increased damage and speed, plus when the ability has been recast, the taunt will activate, on top of causing a knockdown effect. Hallowed Eruption now has a passive ability that adds 100% to Hallowed Ground's duration, and upon recast and activation of the augment effect, radiation damage will always proc. Furious Javelin received a damage and duration increase on its buff. Tidal Impunity received a duration increase on its immunity buff. Magnetized Discharge now has a passive benefit that increases power range for the ability. Upon players getting kills with Shooting Gallery activated and using the Muzzle Flash augment, a blinding area of effect will be generated once reaching its threshold. Explosive Legend Main saw an increase to its damage and status chance when triggered. The range of the Total Eclipse augment has been increased. The debuff duration based on equipped mods has also been increased, and upon raw hitting enemies, they will be affected by a stagger effect. Contagion Cloud can now activate when an enemy is killed by damage over time effects, and they also increased its range and damage. Transistor Shield no longer drains additional energy if other players pick up your shields, and the damage conversion percentage has been increased. Target Fixation's buff will be removed after 2 seconds upon landing on the ground, and damage will increase per target hit. Sonic Fracture's armor reduction is applied even if Ragdoll fails. Smoke Shadow received an increase to its range. Piercing Navigator projectiles now have a 3-meter punch through, and Fireball Frenzy, Freeze Force, Might Infusion, Venom Dose, and Shock Trooper will now provide an elemental buff to every player that the charge cast touches, including the caster. Now outside of the augment changes, they optimized numerous scripts across the game, and before hitting fixes, in Hotfix 25.6.1, which went live after the update, they changed the Thumper Nightwave challenge range being only 50 meters and made it 200 meters to prevent issues. As for the fixes in both the update and the hotfix, they follow. They fix being unable to sprint in Arcwing if the player is mid-slide and then launches the Arcwing while still holding slide. Collision issues with Nyx's Hecaton shotgun skin. Issues with ephemeras not disappearing when the wearer is gone. An effect leak on the Spore ephemera. Issues on the Grenier Shipyard defense where Ancients could get stuck. Captura cameras continuing to play even when not in free cam mode, which caused a weird blur issue. Missing sound effects when Hallowed Eruption is detonated. An issue in the Corpus Outpost with missing collision on rocks. Missing collision on barrels in a few Grenier Forest tiles. An issue on K-drives where polarity slots cannot be swapped if a player overwrites the starting polarity. An issue with medium graphic settings leading to Wukong Deluxe looking extra sparkly. An issue with Somacord tracks not properly skipping. A script error game hang with color pickers and loadouts when deleting and managing loadouts, and when renaming a loadout without companions. They fixed the Dog Days Captura scene beach balls not having collision, mastery requirement showing up in loadout tooltips, camera issues in Captura, Gara's Splinter Storm not shattering glass on Gara's helmet, and numerous missing localization lines. That was update 25.6 and its follow-up hotfix. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Cue LEA music. Wow!